You might have heard of a pretty big recent trend on the internet, VTubing, where people make content using animated versions of themselves, or avatars, which are linked to their real-life actions, or inactions. I bow deeply to the YouTube algorithm, so obviously I had to get in on this, and as a bonus, it seemed like a great way to connect with you, the viewers. But I quickly discovered a problem. You see, as I divulged during my face reveal video, I am, in fact, a literal folder on a desktop. And when I went to search for VTuber software, I discovered the horrifying truth of VTubing accessibility. There isn't a single program for making folder VTuber avatars. Not only that, these VTuber programs all rely on camera tracking of a human face to move the avatar. Folders, being inanimate objects, obviously don't move. The flapping you see on the screen right now is because the video is a deepfake. Don't mind it. Normally I look like this, so. Initially, I thought all of this must have been a mistake, or simply the algorithm not showing me what I was searching for. So I dug deeper. And deeper still, even contacting known professionals in the field. At last, I was out of options. It was over. There was no hope. The folder tuber dream was dead. I was just a little folder in a big VTubing content creating ocean. But then I realized there was another route we could take. Another possibility that was still open. A way for us to be the change. With the knowledge bestowed in me through copy-pasting code from online, the power I gained from my extremely effective editing setup, and an efficient programming language to bring us to new and very memory-safe heights. With these three powers combined, we can make a folder VTuber avatar ourselves! Alright, I know what you're thinking. Desktop folder, you just spent like 2 minutes telling us how folders don't have a face, so you can't make a VTuber application for them. That's it, right? Well, no, I'm one step ahead of you. Humor me for a second here and think back to what I was saying just 1 or 2 minutes ago. Okay, you're done? Good? You remember what it was? Doesn't matter. The point is we were saying something, and if we were saying something, that means we have video proof that folders can talk. And now if folders can talk, we can actually make a VTuber software that doesn't use facial tracking, but rather uses audio tracking. And that would, it would solve all of our problems. Now, this might exist already, but we're just going to make our own because that's half the fun, right? So let's get going. Let's get started. And let's pop open my good old script for this because I wrote it up. And oh my goodness. What is this? Okay, I have like way too much technical detail in here. We're going to skip over that. We're just going to write some code and we're going to show you how it works and it's going to be beautiful. Let's make a list of the things we need to get done for this to work. Obviously, we need some kind of system to get the audio from my microphone. That's step 1. The next step is probably to determine what level of audio denotes actually talking versus background noise. For example, my keyboard is kind of loud. Don't ask how folders use keyboards, it's extremely complex. We'll feed that data into the next requirement that we have, which is some kind of display that shows an open folder when I'm talking and a closed one when I'm not. We could do something more complex with closing and opening animations, but that would complicate things a lot and I don't really have time for that. Finally, we need an actual folder avatar. Now, you might assume that folders aren't good artists, and you'd be right. My art skills are not up to par for this. Fortunately, we already have a solution for this problem, and we'll get to that in a moment. So for step 1, I whipped up a quick audio visualizer tool using a C library called Mini Audio. This was actually pretty fun to do. Don't worry about this code, I'm sure there are no bugs or anything, and that it works totally fine. Anyways, let's just start up the audio visualizer, and as you can see, as I talk, we get visual feedback, which is stellar, but this doesn't really seem to be working properly. The levels don't seem to represent what I would expect, and there's not that much background noise. But that's something we can fix later. Every program has bugs, right? Let's just get that folder going. So I'm just going to do all of this with SFML, which is the graphical library that I'm using to display the window and display the audio feedback when I'm talking. And we're also just going to go ahead and pop in a folder avatar. Now, the folder avatar, which was step 4, but we're doing things a bit out of order, is actually a piece of fan art that also Henrik made for me. Okay, the script initially said that it was like a week ago, but it's been like 80% of a year, so don't worry about that. It happens. things don't always go as quickly as you would like. All right, so now for step 2. We need to determine when I'm talking versus when I'm not talking. So let's go ahead and add a bit of code for that real quick. What we're going to do is add a threshold so that when the noise coming into the microphone is above a certain threshold for a certain number of frames, then we're going to say that I'm currently talking and we'll open the folder. And then after some kind of fall off period, when I'm not talking anymore and the volume goes down below the threshold again, we'll close the folder because I'm no longer talking. Alright, so everything should be hooked up, and we should have it set up to display the folder avatar as well that also Henrik sent me. Let's go ahead and boot that up, and wow, there you go. So I also improved the audio visualizer that works in the background here. So as you can see, when we're talking and the folder should be open, we have red frames, and when we're not talking and the folder should be closed, we have yellow frames. So that can kind of help us to debug what's going on and make sure that everything's working properly. And it's not. Like, there's a lot of things wrong with this. It usually matches when I'm talking, but not really, and it seems to have a bunch of frames that are too loud when they shouldn't be, or frames that are too quiet when they shouldn't be, and it also still has a ton of background noise. I'm not really sure what's going on. Well, that's kind of a lie. I know exactly what's going on because I'm recording this way after completing this project. At the time, I wasn't quite sure what was going on, but I will enlighten you, the viewer, as I, the current person recording this video, does know what's going on. So, quick discussion of how audio works. Audio is comprised of sine waves, and sine waves, if you're not familiar, are basically a wave that goes from 0 to 1 and then to -1 repeatedly, and it looks like a wave. That's why they call it a sine wave. Now, the reason that this was causing a bug in my program is the latter half of that definition of what a wave looks like, which is that it goes to -1. For some reason, when I was reading the audio data, I was thinking, obviously, only values that are greater than 0 actually matter. And I was cutting out every single value that was less than 0, which meant that half of the sound data was just discarded, and we ended up with utter rubbish. So let's go ahead and update ourselves to a newer version of the project so that we can see this working properly. All right, so I'm now building an updated version of the project. And in just a second, we'll be able to see how it looks once we account for the fact that audio is a wave and not just a... Oh, 1 second. All right, this time it'll work for sure. Trust me. We've booted up, and as you can see, a lot of stuff has improved. So one thing that I did is I added in a green screen. Now we can import the folder VTuber into OBS pretty easily and then clear out the background area. I've also made it so that it displays the frames correctly. It was like half the speed it was supposed to be before, which is not quite ideal. And finally, we have a much more complex system for how we deal with the opening and closing decision of whether or not the folder should be open or closed. The way that we do this is that basically we have orange frames, which are frames that are maybe loud enough but could also be background noise, red frames that are definitely loud enough and always cause the folder to open, and yellow frames that are not loud enough and they usually cause the folder to close. If there's enough orange frames in a row, we'll open the folder, but if it's been open for a while and there's a bunch of orange frames in a row, we'll close the folder and we'll just assume it's background noise. And then things like yellow frames or red frames will just force something to happen usually. That keeps the folder flickering pretty nicely, but also makes it so that it stays open even when I'm not like talking super smoothly. And that's it. I'm going to go ahead and add 1 or 2 more features to this, and then we can wrap up the video. I am now a folder VTuber, and it is a beautiful day to be alive. Alright, and there you have it. The project is absolutely finished and complete and done at this point. There is nothing more to add. It is perfect. And yeah, I guess that's about it for the video. I did initially have an outro planned here, but I'm trying to get this video done today, which is a weird thing to say when you've been procrastinating and the video is taking you like 8 months, but we're getting it done today, so not a whole lot else to say here. Sorry for the delay in putting out any videos. I can't really guarantee that there will be any more coming. I do have a tech one that I really want to make, but would require a lot of research and work and preparation, so maybe I'll work on it over the summer, I'm not really sure. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have anything I'm working on right now. There'll probably be something again sometime, might be in like a year, I don't know. But anyways, that's it for this video, so thanks for watching and have a nice day.